What's up everybody, Austin Kruchek here and welcome back to part 2 of our split screen videos tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into timeline organization. Now this is a crucial step for shaving off a ton of editing time, saving you a lot of hours and a lot of stress moving forward. I got a lot of great submissions with your split screen videos from last week's video, so if you guys haven't already submitted, I'll be reviewing your split screen videos and featuring some of the best ones in our final, actually secret part 4 video of this series. So if you haven't already, check the link in the description below where you can submit your videos and tell me a little bit about your projects. Alright guys, so with all of that out of the way, let's actually take a look at how to do this. Okay, so checking out our project here, we have our little panel down here on the left. As you guys know, I always say this, organization is key, and this will definitely help you stay organized, especially when you have 25 different videos that you're trying to edit in a project like this. So we're just going to go through a little bit of the organization here and show you how I set up my actual timeline after I've organized all of this and built out all of my sequences. So just taking a look here, we have our audio folder. I just have some miscellaneous stuff. We have our grids, our nested sequences, which is the folder that we're going to be using in this video, and that's going to be super important. We have our placeholders, which essentially are just all of the mini videos that make up our nested sequences, our final full trombone screens, full saxophone screens, all of that. So that's where all of that is housed. We have our final sequences, and we have all of our actual video files. So today we're going to be taking a look at the nested sequences. So as you can see, I do a little bit of color coding. This helps me stay super organized. So I have my trumpets. I always label them blue, cerulean blue. That just like helps them stand out. My trombones are always purple, my personal favorite color. The saxophones are green. I have my rhythm section in pink. Chad, specifically for this one, is brown, and then our full big band section is like a turquoise kind of blue color. So the first step into setting up your timeline is to drag out your final audio. Now we have all of our stuff just mixed and mastered for us by our great friend Noah Kelman. He does an awesome job, crushes these big band videos here, and what we're gonna do is just take a look at that. So I have dragged out my final audio here, and if you guys don't know how to do this already, you can see that I have built out 26 different tracks here. That's a little bit more than we actually need, but I just like some extra room. And what you can do is you can click in this area right here, right click, you can click add tracks, and then you can select, if you want to add 5 more tracks, just select 5 more video tracks, 5 more audio tracks, and that'll add an extra 5. I don't need any more, so I'm just going to click cancel, but you're going to click OK if you want to do that. So getting into it here, we always start, or personally, I always start with my saxes. So I have saxes full, and just looking at our audio here, I know there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this, but like we did in our last video, specifically on nested sequences, I'm just going to go back into the saxes full section here, this specific nested sequence, and as you can see, the audio lines up perfectly here, and that's because our first audio track is our final audio track here. And as I zoom in my nested sequence, you can see this little kind of triangle at the very beginning. That just indicates that it's the very beginning of that specific audio track or whatever video track that you're using. That's the very beginning of the actual source material that you're using for that. So as you can see, I have the final track here, and I've lined up all of the saxophones. So sax 1, alto 2. I have Barry here. That's just because Barry comes up first in when I have it labeled out in our specific videos. We have tenor 1, tenor 2. As you can see, all of that audio is lined up to our final track. And since this final track is in our A1 slot here, that's the first audio, or that's the only audio that's actually going to display in our nested sequence audio here. So checking that out, it's going to line up perfectly. And I've done this for all of them. So this is going to be the quickest, most efficient way to ensure that you guys are going to have your nested sequences line up perfectly with your final audio in your final video sequence here. So I'm just going to drag these out. I have my saxes half. I generally don't build this one out because I just don't have a need for it. Generally in the big band arrangements that come in, it's either saxophones full screen and like a soli kind of thing, or just playing some backgrounds. Trumpets and trombones actually are very common to be placed together, so I have them built out for their half screens here, but I just have not really come across a way where I need to use a half screen saxophone, so I'm not going to drag that out. But I do use all of the saxes at one point here, so I'm just going to drag that out, make sure that that's all lined up. And if I actually click in here, let's just take a look as to what is happening here. So okay, so this one looks like it's a little off. Basically all I need to do is just drag that over, just a little sleuthing there that we needed to do. When I dragged that out, it didn't have the very beginning of the sequence, so I just needed to drag that to the left, make sure I selected it, and drag this all the way to the left, this little red arrow here, and that will, as you can see, indicated right here, the little triangle tells you that that's the beginning of the actual track of your nested sequence. So then I can just drag that over and whoops, let's just Command Z that, drag that over, and as you can see, audio is perfectly lined up. So we know our saxes 1/3 screen and saxes full are all lined up. So as you can see, my sections are green for saxes. Now the next step I'm going to do is build out my trombones. So I'm going to take my trombone sequence, do the exact same thing. I go full and then I go half. That one looks like same issue as we had before with our saxes, so just drag that to the right. Drag that all the way to the left to extend your audio and the end of your clip, indicated by that little triangle, and then as you can see, we're lined up again. So now we're running into, I believe only 3 or 4 tracks are built out in an actual sequence that you just start. So now we're running into the territory where we're seeing that those extra tracks are going to start being beneficial to us as we're building this out here. So we have our trombones full, trombones half. Now we drag out our trombones third. So this is a really interesting sequence here. Since I already have these built out already, this might be just a saved preference that I have, and you can see that in my trombones full. So make sure you're just dragging your tracks all the way out from beginning to end. As you can see, again, that little triangle indicator just lets you know that you're at the beginning of your track, and we can just take a look at the end of our track here and make sure that everything is lining up. So that looks good to me. And as you can see, our timeline is starting to get built out here to where we can, just really have a great layout for all of our instruments. So I know all of my trombones are purple. If I need a trombone on the fly, I know trombone full, trombone half, trombone third. That allows you to just select it and, use it for whatever you want when you start making your cuts here. We're not going to get into that this week, but we'll be getting into that next week. So our next section here is trumpets. I'm going to drag the trumpets out. That looks like it's at the beginning. Drag that all the way to the very beginning of the track there. As you can see, we're still lined up, and that's thanks to our final audio that we have set up in our original nested sequence. So I'm just going to drag these out, make sure that they are fully extended here. Trumpets half look lined up. Let's do trumpets third. Same exact thing. I'm just repeating the process here. And as we keep going, we see triangle looks good. I'm going to keep going. If I extend this out, just check out my timeline. We have saxes green, trombones purple, trumpets in cerulean blue. So our next thing that we're going to build out is our rhythm. Usually I only have rhythm full, which just indicates that I have 4 rhythm players, bass, drums, piano, and guitar. But sometimes in your specific arrangements, there might be no guitar for some of your backgrounds or your rhythm section playing, or a piano or a guitar might switch off for comping. So I always build out a rhythm trio section here, which just features rhythm trio with piano and not guitar. So as we keep going here, our last, or not our last one yet, is our our big band. So I always do big band next. Again, drag that out. Big band is a aqua type color. Make sure we drag that out. Looks like we can extend it a little bit more. That is used pretty rarely, honestly. And, you know, when I have this built out here, you can see that, you know, we have all of our saxes up top, our rhythm section in the middle layer here, our feature in the middle, and then our trumpets and trombones on the bottom there. So that's just the standard kind of built out that I have made for these types of videos, and I try to just stick to them. But I'll use this screen pretty rarely just for impact when I'm cutting, you know, the video up. And then last but not least, we have a full shot of our performer, our feature, Chad LB here. So I'm just going to make sure that that's all dragged out. And I've even lined up his video specifically, even though it's just one track and it looks like a solo track, I've still nested this sequence, as you can see, to the full timeline here, or the full final audio here. So just checking that out. It's just so easy to line this stuff up and just take your time with those original nested sequences to just line up with the final audio, as you can see, because it makes this step so much more easy and just way more efficient. So as you can see, all of our audio is lined up here. Looking at the beginning of the tracks, all of these little audio layers are perfectly in line. They end perfectly in time with our final audio track. And what you want to make sure is that when you're doing this, you're on quarter resolution, just because this is a ton of video files that you're going to be working with here. And then audio wise, we only want our final audio track playing. So I have A1 unmuted, and then the rest of our audio tracks muted. And then I have a few more layers here in case we ever need to add in, let's say, a drum just solo, full shot, in case he just has like a drum break or something like that. That would be something that we could add in to just beef up the arrangement a little bit and showcase that with video. So checking this out here, final recap, we have our saxes in green, our trombones in purple, our trumpets in blue, rhythm in pink, big band in a turquoise kind of color, and Chad in a brown type of color here. And if you guys don't know how to label your sequences over here, literally all you need to do is right click, scroll down, click this label button, and as you can see, I'll just switch it to something that I don't use, which is tan. So tan, it switches our color over here in our project files, and it also switches our nested sequence color out here. So I'm just going to switch that back really quick just so it lines up with the colors that I always like to edit with. And you guys can take this and customize it to whatever you want. And specifically, you know, whatever type of arrangement you're going to be doing, your band, your instrumentation is going to be completely different from a big band. If you're doing an orchestra, if you're doing a chamber ensemble, anything like that, if you're doing a choir, this is always going to be different. I'm just trying to show you guys the tools that I use that are easily applicable to the same type of large ensemble arrangements that you guys will probably be doing. All right, guys, so I hope you learned a little bit of something with this one on your timeline organization. This, I think, is a crucial step to honestly shaving off hours of time of editing and putting that into some other projects that you guys are probably working on. So follow the color coding. You guys can obviously customize that to your liking, to your ensemble, whatever fits your needs. And just remember to line up your audio with the final audio so that when you drag it out onto your timeline, it's just going to line up automatically and you don't have to retrace your steps there. You've already done that and kind of eliminated one step in the process. So if you guys have any questions or you have anything that you would like me to cover in the upcoming videos, please leave a comment in the comment section below. My name is Austin Kruchek, and I will see you guys for part 3 next week. Peace.